You are listening to CFDb interviews, and we're here today with actress Stacey Bradshaw. And we want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Do I have permission to start recording the interview?
Yes, you do.
First of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role within the Christian film industry?
Well, I am 28 years old, despite the fact that I look 17 or 18. and nobody ever believes me when I say how old I am. I still live at home with my family, and I'm the oldest child, and I have two younger brothers, and we were all homeschooled, which was a huge blessing for us. And I have more hobbies than I have time for, which is always keeping me very busy. I really enjoy photography, writing, playing the piano, singing, reading classic literature, sewing, and dancing, like ballroom dancing, swing dancing, and stuff like that. I got bit by the acting bug at a fairly young age, but we didn't have any drama groups near us, so I didn't get to act in a real play until I was 16. And my mom drove me 4 hours round trip every day for a week so that I could be in a musical production of Beauty and the Beast with a homeschool drama group. And I don't know how she did it, because honestly, just thinking about that now at my age makes me exhausted.
It's pretty impressive.
But my mom and dad, yeah, I know. I just, that was incredible. My mom and dad have always been so supportive, and I'm really grateful for that. It's really gotten me to where I am today. Yeah, so I acted in a few more theater productions during high school, and I went to Bryan College in Dayton, Tennessee. I transferred in my junior year, and I majored in theater there, which was really fun. And I actually stayed an extra year after I graduated to take some film classes, like editing and screenwriting, because I was very interested in film, both from an acting perspective and a filmmaking perspective. And I was trying to figure out, where could I fit into that picture. And so I graduated in 2009, and I stayed an extra year. So 2010, I finished up at Bryan, and then that year I went to the Advent Film Group workshop, which I highly recommend to anyone interested in filmmaking. And that's really what kicked off my film career, because I was able to connect really well with George Escobar and his family, and I was invited to work as crew on pickup shooting for Hero and principal photography for Alone Yet Not Alone later that year.
Great.
So I helped with props. Yeah, it was really incredible. I helped with props for those two movies. And then the next year, I was invited to come back and be wardrobe supervisor for another Advent film called The Screenwriters, which was set in the 1940s. And they knew that I loved that time period and that I know how to sew and stuff like that. So they asked me to do wardrobe, and that was really fun. So that movie should be coming out next year, hopefully. So keep an eye out for that. I really enjoyed being involved in making films, but my primary interest was still in acting. So I was sending out video auditions for Christian films that I would hear about, but I didn't get cast in anything for 2 years until 2012, when I was cast as the lead role in the Wednesday Morning Breakfast Club, which is a 45-minute short film that I did in Michigan. And then later, like a month or two later, in Touched by Grace, which was a feature film starring Ben Davies from Courageous. So we co-starred in that together. And so I went from being an extra to two leading roles back to back, which is just incredible. I mean, that's just God right there. And I love to tell that story and encourage aspiring actors that God will open the right doors. Like, sometimes you have to work your way up for a long time to get to the bigger roles, but God is capable of putting you there whenever he wants you there. So dream big and go for it, because God is in control.
Definitely.
And there's no limit on what he can do. Yeah.
It's definitely encouraging, because I know we have to be patient when our timing is definitely not his timing, and you never know when he's going to open that door, but to keep pressing forward. So that's great. So what has been your favorite so far, and tell us why?
Well, that's a really tough question to answer. Most of my roles have been very unique, and there were elements I really enjoyed about each one. I've played a teenager multiple times, in fact, most of the time. I've played a 30-something-year-old mom. I've been homeless twice. I've been blind. I've gotten to ride a horse while being blind, no less. So that was pretty exciting. I've died twice. Getting shot was the most fun, I will say. I've portrayed characters in different time periods, and I don't know. I feel like it's a really lame answer, but I want to say that they've all been my favorite in a sense because there's so many different elements about each one that I really enjoyed and that stretched me in a different direction. So I'm not sure I can pick just one.
Well, that's good though, because it's you have a positive attitude, and that's good that you have enjoyed each of the roles, because I know not every actor can say that. So that's really a good thing, and it's funny what you said about being shot. So I imagine that would be
Yeah,
kind of different.
I grew up watching Western movies, like old Westerns with Roy Rogers and Johnny and stuff. So I'm a cowgirl at heart. Most people don't know that, but I really am. And so I just, getting to have a gun or, getting shot in a movie, like that's kind of been my dream for a long time. So that was pretty exciting for me.
That's funny, and it's something that probably other people wouldn't know. It's something that I didn't know about you, so I'm glad you shared that. So do you
Yeah.
think, out of all the movies that you have acted in, do you think there's one that stands out as the best film for an outreach tool for non-Christians?
Well, most of the films that I worked on they've all been faith-based films, and most of them have had an intentionally redemptive message. But offhand, I would probably say Touched by Grace. Touched by Grace is an anti-bullying film with a great message about God's love and forgiveness, and offers the hope that people can change. No one is beyond God's love and offer of redemption. And so I really hope that one will get into the hands of a lot of non-believers and people who need to turn their lives around.
I too, I agree with you, and I definitely enjoy that film, and I can see how that can be a good outreach tool, especially since bullying is such an issue right now. Are there any other faith-based projects that you're in upcoming that you can tell us about?
Well, I haven't been cast in any upcoming films at this point. So I guess no to that question. But I do
there are
have,
some that haven't
a lot of my
yet.
films.
Like
there's a lot of my films.
Or...
And there's a couple of short films through Liberty, Blind Faith and Love Keeper. And then there was a feature film shot at Liberty with Andrew Chaney, Rachel Hendricks, and Aaron Buffet that I got to play a small role in. That's called 77 Chances. Hopefully that'll be coming out sometime next year. And then Polycarp, Destroyer of Gods. And then Wanted, a short film that I was...
For Polycarp?
I don't think so. I believe they're aiming for next year, but I don't think there's a specific date yet. But yeah. So, basically, there's a lot of films coming out. So if people want to keep up with that, they can go like my fan page on Facebook, and I keep posting updates, as films are being released and stuff like that. So it's probably the best place to keep up with everything that I've got going on right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of people do that. Facebook's a great place to post everything that is going on. So I'd like to ask you, what advice would you give to Christians that are interested in an acting career?
Well, like any job in the film industry, or in a lot of industries really, you have to be really passionate about what you're doing, because it's really, really hard work. As an actor, especially, you're really making yourself vulnerable, and you're going to face a lot of rejection. And there are going to be times when you're busy with acting jobs, and that's awesome. That's always a really good place to be. But there's also going to be dry spells when, you haven't gotten cast in anything for a long time, and you're thinking no one's ever going to cast you again. I've been there. I understand that place. And, it's just really a roller coaster, and you learn really fast that you have to be super flexible, because a lot of times things come up at the last minute. You find out, there's an audition tomorrow that I need to drive 3 hours for, or, I just got cast in something and start filming next week. And so it's really, you just have to stay really flexible in your life. And that's not easy. It's really hard, and it's frustrating sometimes, but it's a very fun and rewarding thing to do. It's not an easy road, but like, if God has called you to do that, then don't let fear or insecurity or doubt hold you back. Don't put limits around yourself or around God. And this is something that I've really been learning over the past year or two, is just, God can do anything. He can open any door, and it's just incredible. And so I would just say, keep yourself grounded in your faith and just give it everything you've got. And kind of like a few more things, like quick little bullet list here is well, realize also that it's probably not going to pay your bills if you have a flexible job on the side, and that's one thing that is really challenging. It's like, how do I make money on the side with a job that's going to let me take off and notice to go do this role that I've been given? That's really tough to figure out how to make that work. Know what your standards are before you go into it, so you're less likely to compromise. And then be prepared for a lot of rejection, but don't take it personally, because a lot of times you just may not have the look that they want or look the right age or whatever. So it's not like that you're just a bad actor. You just don't quite fit the role. So don't take it personally when you're not getting cast and stuff, because it's not a reflection. Usually it's not a reflection of how good or how bad you are as an actor. But really just trust God every step of the way, because he will open all the right doors. And make sure that your heart is in the right place to serve God with your talents instead of seeking fame or glory, because that's a very empty life. So if you're doing this to serve God, if he's called you to do this, then it will be an amazing journey, and it will be worth all the hard times. And just really just make sure that your heart is lined up to follow God where he's leading you, and then just go for it and do it everything you got, and it will be amazing.
That is.
And also I have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nope, go ahead. I was going to say that is excellent advice. I definitely want to try and encourage people to definitely pay attention to what you just said. But go ahead and continue.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, for people that do want to start acting, I have a blog that I started as a resource for actors, and I share lessons that I've learned from my personal experiences, as well as helpful articles that I found about a whole variety of subjects related to acting. And I post some casting calls on there for films that I feel confident promoting. And if people want to go find my blog, the address is Acting for Christ, and that's the number 4. So it's acting, the number 4, and then Christ.blogspot.com. And I'm really hoping that is a resource that helps a lot of people, because there's so much that I've had to learn the hard way, coming along every step of the journey. And I just kind of want to make it easier for people to not have to sit there for hours and Google all these things and learn stuff. I mean, it's great learning by experience. If I can share my experience and make somebody else's experience easier, then I'm happy to do that. So hopefully that'll be helpful.
I'm sure it definitely will. I do want you to, one more time, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, and again, to repeat that address that you mentioned for the blog spot.
Okay, the acting blog is acting and then the number 4 and then Christ.blogspot.com. And if people want to get in touch with me, probably the best way is to connect with me through my Facebook fan page, which and the address for that would be facebook.com/StaceyBradshaw.actress. And my name is spelled STACEYBRADSHAW, and then .actress after that. And then also they can contact me through my website, which is staceybradshaw.wordpress.com. And that kind of has a whole overview of everything that I've done, and a contact page there for people that want to get in touch with me.
That is perfect. I just want to thank you again, Stacey, for taking the time to talk with us today. You have been listening to CFDb Interviews. For more about CFDb, please check out our website at christianfilmdatabase.com.